Somewhere, right now, someone is staring at a clock, waiting for it to hit 5 p.m., silently blaming an entire species for this. Nobody chose this. You didn't vote on the 9 to 5, it just showed up one day. And now it runs your entire life. So who actually built this thing? Turns out it's not one guy. It's a labor reformer, a car company, a president, and a country song. Before all this, work didn't run on a clock at all. It ran on the sun. Farmers worked when there was daylight and stopped when there wasn't. Wildly reasonable. Deeply unmodern. Then the Industrial Revolution happened, and someone realized machines don't get tired. So why should the people running them stop either? By the mid-1800s, 12 to 16-hour shifts were completely normal. 6 days a week, sometimes 7. And to be clear, this wasn't adults who chose factory work as a lifestyle. Children worked these shifts too. So naturally, people got upset. And one guy in particular decided to actually do something about it. 1817. A Welsh textile manufacturer named Robert Owen comes up with a slogan that's still basically the blueprint for a balanced life. 8 hours labor, 8 hours recreation, 8 hours rest. A perfectly reasonable idea, which means, obviously, almost nobody listened to him for the next several decades. Which is very on-brand for history. Good idea shows up, history checks its watch, history leaves. It took actual strikes to move the needle. In 1886, workers across the US walked out demanding the 8-hour day. It became one of the biggest labor movements in American history, and it took generations to actually win. So, just to recap, someone had the right idea in 1817. It took until the late 1800s for anyone in power to even pretend to care. Progress, technically. But the 8-hour day is only half the story. The actual weekend, as in 2 days off, needed one more person to show up. Enter Henry Ford. Car guy, assembly line guy, surprisingly relevant to your Saturday. In 1914, Ford did something nobody expected. He cut his workers' shifts to 8 hours and doubled their pay. Every other factory owner reacted the exact same way. Utter confusion. Because Ford wasn't doing this to be nice. He'd noticed something everyone else missed. Exhausted workers make mistakes. Rested workers make cars faster. And it worked. Productivity went up, turnover went down. So in 1926, Ford went even further. He gave his workers an entire second day off. 5-day week, 40 hours. The actual modern weekend. Which sounds incredibly generous. Until you hear his actual reasoning. Ford needed people to have free time and money to go buy the cars his own factory was making. So the weekend wasn't a gift. It was a marketing strategy that also happened to improve your entire quality of life. Capitalism accidentally inventing self-care. Incredible. Ford's version was still just one company's policy, though. It took the government over a decade to actually make it a nationwide rule. 1938, President Franklin Roosevelt signs the Fair Labor Standards Act, setting an official national workweek and overtime rules for the first time. It started at 44 hours. 2 years later, it dropped to 40, and that number has barely moved since. For context, the number of hours in your workweek has been legally frozen since roughly the invention of sliced bread staying popular. So the 8-hour day, the 5-day week, and the legal 40-hour limit were all locked in by 1940. But 9 to 5, as a phrase, that came from somewhere else entirely. 1980. Dolly Parton releases a song called, very directly, 9 to 5. And just like that, A very dry piece of 1930s labor legislation had a theme song. So here's the honest answer to who invented the 9-to-5. Nobody, really. It's a reformer nobody listened to. Decades of strikes. A car company's marketing trick. A president's signature. And a pop song. All stacked on top of each other. Not one genius. Just 100 years of people slowly agreeing that maybe working yourself to death wasn't the move. And now, 100 years later, we're having the exact same argument again. Just about whether you need to be in an office to do it. History doesn't repeat. It just switches outfits and asks for a new memo. Anyway, go enjoy your weekend. Henry Ford, weirdly, wants you to.